Hey everyone, welcome to Season 2 of the Think Fresh Move Forward podcast. Today we're talking about things, and we're also talking about stuff. So,
that's every podcast.
We have some news to cover. We've got some cool ads we're gonna review, and
I don't know if I'd say cool. The ads are,
we're going to
what they are.
critique.
Yeah, we're talking about March Madness ads. So if you're into March Madness, you've probably seen these ads one quadrillion times.
Yes. Yeah.
So
they are like, the peak level of annoyance right now.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. So hopefully a lot of you identify with these, or at least help us watch these, and so that we can commiserate with you.
That's a word.
But anyway, let's get started with some news articles.
Yeah.
James, tell us what's happening in what you've seen lately.
Yeah. So, Claire, if you can pull up the Wall Street Journal article on sports gambling. Here we go. All right.
So James is our degenerate gambler.
Well, hey, I will say this. To my credit, right, I kicked the habit for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what every gambler says.
And then I, obviously made an exception for March Madness last week.
What's the 5 stages of depression?
But here's what's kind of wild about the sports gambling world, right? This has been obviously like a big moneymaker for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
The leagues especially. The leagues basically went from when this Supreme Court case pulled down the ruling a couple years ago that basically opened the floodgates. The sports leagues literally did a 180. They went from we are anti anything related to sports gambling because it'll affect the integrity of the game, it'll affect, outcomes, to wow, FanDuel just threw us a lot of money.
It's
right?
really
And
interesting how
DraftKings
much
threw us a lot of money.
It's really interesting how money affects morals.
Yes.
Sorry.
Morals become a little too expensive to keep sometimes.
So there actually is the 5 stages of gambling addiction. So I just actually was curious.
Interesting.
That was a
Okay,
thing.
I know that we're talking about something else. I know that this is a rabbit hole, but I really want to hear this rabbit
The
hole.
5 stages of a gambling addiction are the winning stage, then the losing stage, the desperation stage, the hopeless stage, and the last but not least, the recovery stage. So,
Well, that doesn't have there the relapse stage, right? Which
Yeah.
I'm currently in, right? That's the relapse stage.
that's the hopeless stage. So you're hopeless in your your gambling.
So actually, just one other side note.
So
tangent
what
on
does
that.
this mean for everyone?
All right, so it means a few things, right? First of all, it means that all of these individual players are now being put in the spotlight like never before, even college athletes, right? Because some states allow individual bets on individual college players, right? So you could have a prop bet that says, hey, this college player is his number is 11.5 points, which means that if he scores 12 or more points, you bet the over, you win, right? If he scores 11 points or less, and you bet the under, you win. And some people are under investigation regarding this, right? Because this is a problem that was happening back in the 90s.
With boxing, right?
Well, shaving points in college basketball in St. John's, literally like the mob was involved in New Jersey, like the New York and New Jersey mafia were involved with St. John's team. And they were like, St. John's University students were like basically missing free throws. So they would get the under, and it was like millions of dollars, up for grabs. Now, because these leagues have basically said everybody can gamble now in states that it's allowed, they've embraced it so much that it's creating all these scenarios where, sketchy things are happening. One player goes under the number 3 days in a row, and then there's people in their sphere of influence, friends or family, are like cashing tickets for thousands of dollars, right?
It's interesting to me as someone who is not really a fan of almost any sports except for fighting. It's really interesting for me to, on the outside, to see this, because typically when you think of sports betting, you're like, oh, I bet that team wins. But they have gotten so nuanced. They're like, will this player score as many points as he usually scores?
Yeah.
Or will he suck
So
today?
all this is essentially just rigging the game like boxing used to be done back in the day when you would throw a match on purpose.
Here's the thing. Public trust in the integrity of the game is a very, very thin it sits on the edge of a knife blade right
Yeah.
now, right?
That was the whole
And
theory that the
that
NFL has been
rigged,
entirely
it's
rigged.
script, right? So the reality is it's not. The amount of intricacies to like actually coordinate what teams make it to the Super Bowl is like so wild, it's nearly impossible, right? There's so many people that have to be in on that. But on a micro level, you could say that an individual player could decide to play not quite as hard in a given scenario or intentionally miss a free throw, and that free throw could be enough to skew millions of dollars in bets, right? So this is like, it's pretty wild. They don't know what they're going to do. I mean,
do you feel?
Hold on. The conspiracy theory about the whole NFL being rigged is also, this didn't help it, but it just made this theory go like wildfires that the NFL, the National Football League, is categorized as an entertainment business and not a sport, like legally, as its way it's filed. So people saying, oh, they have the right to script the way they want the
like
outcomes
wrestling.
to be.
Yeah.
So
Which
no,
is real,
That's
though.
real. Right. So, anyways, continue.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, it's just it is madness. And this particular story you can see here is Shohei Ohtani. He's a Japanese baseball player that his interpreter and good friend, basically this past week it came out that he stole from him $3.5 million to pay back gambling debts from his bank account, right? And so the question becomes, did Shohei know?
How do you miss $3.5 million?
Well, again, if it happened, the wire transfer pretty quickly and he had all of access to all his accounts, it's possible. But people are saying, well, how did he not know, right? Was he involved in the betting? And so who knows, right? But bottom line, there's all these little instances coming out regarding this, and the leagues don't have an answer for it. And the leagues are just literally like they've sold their souls to the sports books, so like because there's so much money to be made in it.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's destroyed sports?
It could destroy
Long
sports.
term?
Long term, it could destroy sports. And I will say this: I will say on another level, the free access of sports gambling in general, I've had like over the last 6 months or so kind of a like shifting opinion on this, where initially I was like, hey man, this is great, like legalize it, whatever, right? But
That's acceptance of the 5 stages of gambling.
yeah, there you go. But here's the thing: the degree at which the algorithm is constantly manipulating users to bet more is unprecedented. I mean, this is not like you go to Vegas and yes, obviously everyone knows you walk into a casino and everything is stacked against you. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that everything's designed to keep you at a table and gamble as much as possible for as many hours as possible, right? I mean, they pump oxygen into those places to like get you to stay alert and awake.
Free drinks.
and have free drinks, right?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
I didn't
they
know the
want you-
oxygen thing.
Yeah, they
That's
want
the
you to,
thing.
there's no clocks, there's no windows. So it's
right.
like carefree timelessness.
There's no concept
like,
of time.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
make them intentionally confusing and hard to get out of, so that way you're like stuck there, and you'll just go to another table.
Like there's no clear line of sight of
Yeah.
like if you're like in the middle, there's no clear line of sight of a door.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's the exit, that's
Yeah.
the window, I can see.
Interesting.
That. Yeah.
And here's the thing: all of that comes with the territory of gambling, and it's okay in my mind because it's a transaction you're making with these casinos for a one-time thing. I mean, like if you're visiting Vegas and you're on vacation and you drop $500, it's like what it is, right?
Yeah.
But this is in your pocket all the time,
All the
sending
time,
you
yeah.
push notifications.
Oof.
Just as much as anything is addictive, like social media.
Well,
These apps are like, I mean, as soon as your account balance gets to a certain amount, they're sending you a promotion, right? There's all these triggers that are like, set to get you to deposit. Hey, you're running low on money. Here's a deposit bonus, right? I mean, it's like
A deposit
incredibly,
bonus.
incredibly manipulative.
it's not just that. That's also in your pocket. Like since we're in the state of Virginia, you can download the Virginia gambling app,
Yeah.
like the Lotto app, and you can buy lottery tickets on your phone.
Yeah.
So, like for example, Powerball is 935 million. I can hit play now. I'm gonna build my own. I'm buying a lottery ticket right now. One play, autofill, add to cart, continue, check out, allow. People probably can't even see this, but I have a $7 balance, deduct $2, and I just bought a lottery ticket.
That's like,
Usually,
You have
Wow.
to go to the
Had to
gas
do.
station.
You had to go to the gas station.
That's so fast.
But there's not just that. They also have these slot games,
gosh.
like the scratchers, but like like the
They're
slot
literal
machine.
slot machines.
Literally-
hold on. You just did that in sub 15 seconds.
I just bought a lottery ticket.
You just did that in sub 15 seconds, and like, imagine. Okay. So we're a digital agency, right?
Yeah.
So imagine the UX design.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've gotten really good, man.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's like impressive.
So-
like FanDuel
All right. So
is
if
amazing.
whoever did this UX design, we want to talk to you.
So
We
here-
want you to do something for
here's
us.
a game. I just brought up Triple Eagle Bonus. I played the demo because I don't want to put money down on this because this is like stacked. Yeah. But this is just like the slot machines that you see in Vegas.
Yeah.
I have a demo balance of $50. I'm gonna just do
What's a
a
so
$20
demo balance? Do you make actual money if you win that?
No,
Okay.
This is just you to see if you like the game, and then you can hit play, and then literally I can't tell. Did I win anything?
You lost.
You lost.
I just lost $20. Well, I just lost fake $20.
Yeah.
So
That's insane.
I'm gonna do it again. And
I bet you win.
Nope. So I have $10 left. I'm gonna do one more bet of $10, and no, I just lost fake $50 on
Yeah.
this. This is the demo version,
Yeah.
and you can switch to the real one. Thank God, because I would have been pissed if I just wasted $50.
I wonder if you.
But-
I wonder if immediately when you switch and you were like, "Oh, let's test the waters
But-
a little bit. Let me put $5 in. Win immediately."
Yeah.
But
It's
they have-
manipulating you.
They have incentives though for you to if you put like they'll give you 20 free game plays if you deposit $10 or more. So I've done it because I
Yeah.
play the lotto when it gets
Yeah.
big. It's 935 million. What the hell? It's $5-10 whatever, and I get the free 20 plays. Sometimes I win money, sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But it's those incentives they get you to play.
Yeah, here's what's wild. This is where like psychology really has come into play. Back in the 80s, slot machines sucked. Like they were not profitable for the casinos, and casinos really only had like table games. They had added slots, but the slots weren't doing well. And what they discovered in the late 80s going into the 90s was the dopamine rush you get from winning is very similar regardless of how much you're winning. Meaning, right, what they realized is they could actually give you quote unquote wins in your mind that were actually losses. So what they started doing, instead of saying lose, 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 you won, right? And you won a bunch of money, and then lose, 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 and you win a bunch of money. That was like the algorithm. They changed it such that you lose, you win something, but not as much as you put in. Meaning if you put $1 into the machine, you won 50 cents. But you didn't win 50 cents. You lost 50 cents, right?
Right. Yeah.
But in your mind, the simple fact that you got 50 cents back adds a small amount of dopamine hit, right? And so they actually invented the idea of losing bets that actually still make you feel like you're winning, right?
Yeah.
And so then they did that over and over in smaller increments, right? It's like, hey, you put in $1. Well, you won 75 cents, right? You didn't win 75 cents. You lost 25, right? But it makes you feel like you won, right?
Yeah.
And then you're hooked and you just stay on the machine.
Keeping you on the line.
So avoid
yeah.
slot machines. So
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
bottom line,
that's dangerous though. You
Yeah.
just saw me buy a lottery ticket.
well, and that's what I mean. The barrier to entry for this is so low now. I mean, listen, I am fortunate enough to say that when I'm betting $10 a game or $20 a game, it's like I'm not going to like lose my ability to pay my rent, right?
Yeah.
But there are so many people now that have this phone in their pocket with this device or with this sports book that literally are dumping thousands and thousands of dollars into it. And it's like, it is a thing across the country that we just weren't prepared for, right? I mean, we should have known, right? Like that this was going to be the case, right?
Yeah.
This is like, but nobody really expected, like this degree at which individuals' lives are being ruined. And I mean that. Like,
Well,
seriously.
yeah. Well, we all had morals until the money came in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and now it's like the leagues are now backtracking to some degree. They're like, oh shit, how do we like prepare or how do we maintain the integrity of the game but still make these insane contracts?
I don't think you can do both.
Sports books, right?
I don't think you can do
Yeah,
both. You
they
have
might
to decide if you're moral or if you're rich.
Well, they're not moral, right? They've already decided that, right? I mean,
So,
now they're just deciding about how to defy reality.
yeah.
All right, let's go to something that's a little bit more lighter note.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So an article I found recently, and I was surprised that you guys hadn't heard about it, but I'm not shocked that you hadn't heard about it. If you could bring up Neuralink, Claire, that article from IGN. So Neuralink is one of other Elon Musk's company. It's essentially he's been developing a chip that can be implanted into the brain to be able to control essentially like a computer or electrical device. Well, the first person to receive it, if you keep scrolling down a little bit, on this preview video, we don't have to watch the whole thing. It's like 9 minutes long, so just hit play. And
all right, we should be streaming live here. Hello.
And go like a little bit further in the video, like maybe a minute or two. Let's see. All right, like right here, just let it play. Do full screen. You can see his mouse cursor. He's controlling this all through his head through the Neuralink chip.
And he's a quadriplegic.
Yeah,
right?
he cannot. He's quadriplegic. I believe he hurt himself in a freak diving accident. So he hasn't been like this his whole life. But he cannot move his hands or his feet. So literally he has to be assisted. Hasn't been able to really to do anything other than just watch stuff.
Yeah.
Now he can interact with a computer with his brain.
And what's the first thing he did when he?
Well, no, he's playing chess in this.
Yeah.
But the first thing the article is that he played. He stayed up all night playing Civilization 6. And kudos to him. I would probably do the same thing if that.
That's awesome.
So I think that's awesome for this reason. Like, okay, so there's
hold on real quick. There was the whole fear of like, oh, the brain chip in your head, it's gonna control everyone's mind. Not every person is gonna have this implant in the chip. Maybe not yet, but
it's these special circumstances like
this is designed for people, for patients that have issues like this.
Yeah. Okay, well, in terms of who's getting this, if they figure out a way for me to edit videos with a Neuralink, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm ready.
You will become a cyborg.
I will
no
become
problem.
a cyborg if I don't have to memorize 6 billion hotkeys to edit videos. That would be amazing.
I think an AI prompt or AI will come out first before you would implant a chip into your brain.
So, but here's what's significant to me, right? It seems to me, right, and I could be an idiot, but it seems to me that there are destructive and non-destructive ways to activate like chemical responses in your brain. Like the big ones are dopamine, serotonin, and cortisol, right? So video games seem to like really be designed to stimulate dopamine. Okay, and if you're in this guy's position, you're a quadriplegic, you have very few ways to stimulate these things. Like serotonin is difficult because you get that from like spending time with family, you get that from going on a walk, you get that from like interacting with the world in like pleasant ways. And like you're a quadriplegic who's like, you're so limited.
Yeah,
you're so limited, and in so many ways, and like God, like.
Well, I even think about on that note. I think about how he's so used to maybe watching movies or watching TV and like being an observer, right?
Right.
It would make so much sense to me that now he gets to like take action, like in a video game where he can now be like the master of his own domain, right?
Right,
and he can actually like direct things to happen.
He has purpose again.
He's never been able to
exactly,
do that,
but not just that, but like writing, like you can all of a sudden like you can write easily, and it's not like this big freaking ordeal to like write down your freaking thoughts. Like.
I'm sure he had.
I feel like that's just
I'm sure he had some sort of like speech to the thing, or speech to whatever.
Yeah.
He probably could search the internet that way.
Voice to text.
Voice to text.
Yeah.
But now this just makes it easier. You can just control it with your brain as you're thinking it.
Yeah.
You can't play video games though with.
Can
voice
we
to
hire
text.
him as a video editor? Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we get him hooked up to DaVinci Resolve?
Can you go to the?
You're really trying to pawn this off on someone else.
Really would like to not do this.
Claire, can you bring up type in the Google search Neuralink, or just go to their website? Just to show the size of the device. Neurolink. There you go. That's NEU. Okay, there it is. The company one. And yep.
Well,
and as you scroll down,
I know that some people are going to immediately scream Mark of the Beast and stuff, but I think the stuff's pretty cool.
Anything could be considered that.
But,
I know.
We're all cyborgs to some degree right now. Like this, literally, we're attached to our phones.
Exactly.
Down.
This is just reducing the.
This is the device. I think it's about like the size of a quarter. Obviously, I think it still sits outside your head. You still physically see it, but it is implanted.
Yeah.
So this is going to help a ton of people.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but a
think
lot of
it's
people don't
awesome.
realize this is another one of Elon Musk's companies.
Yeah.
I wonder what the worst usage of this is going to end up being.
The worst usage.
Because you know,
Well, listen.
because you know humanity is going to take something amazing and be like,
and make it worse.
let's
So-
use this for
Yes.
porn.
The Apple
that's-
yes, so the Apple Vision Pro, just for that. But Apple had prevented certain sites like that to be utilized.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they didn't say that.
They broke right through that immediately. I guarantee it.
Yeah, sure,
Jailbroke
but a lot of people
immediately.
returned the devices because they couldn't use the VR aspect for that.
Yeah.
So yes, people always have certain intentions for certain things. So,
Yeah.
Well, obviously there's a lot. I mean, if you push anything to an extreme, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Man.
Which we're going to do
Yeah.
5 seconds out of the gate
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
people.
Well, like that's the thing, right? That's with sports gambling, with dopamine hits, with video games, with whatever it is.
It's
right?
tools. It's just tools to
It's
do what you
all
want.
ways to fuel addiction, right? And it becomes a situation where something moves from addiction to like so damaging that it ruins your life,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think he's gaining something out of this, which is
Absolutely.
pretty meaningful.
Yeah,
right?
I'm saying this. I think people are going to be people no matter what. I
But
think,
what if it?
I think whatever you give them, they're going to just be people with it. So what they're
Amplifies.
already doing,
Yeah.
it's just going to amplify what they
Well,
are.
you have the fear of it being hacked.
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh yeah! Oh,
Oh,
my god!
Jesus.
Like
What-
a drive-by hacking to your brain.
What
oh
was
my
that-
God, that
what
would
was
be
that?
So
What was that
terrible.
movie?
But I don't think they're going to be able to download stuff.
Ghost in a Shell.
Oh yeah, Ghost in the Shell. Yeah.
Everyone has chips in their head, and then
Yeah.
people get hacked, and they commit a crime
Yeah.
that they didn't realize they're doing.
Nailed it.
I mean, it's already weird to like have a random airdrop on your
Or
phone
IP
or something.
or
So
IP
this would
hacking.
be
Imagine
like-
a random airdrop pops
in
in
your
image in your
brain.
head. Like, oh my god!
Or what I could see happening is IP hacking. So someone hijacks the Neuralink that you're using to do something like I hate to say this, but like child pornography, right? And so then like you are very able to like frame somebody for that.
Yeah.
Well, that,
yeah.
but also that aspect, and then you couple everything with AI and being able to edit videos. Like, I feel like video evidence is also going to be heavily scrutinized now,
Yeah.
and have to be, and it's going to be like a certain percentage. Like, how much is this video?
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
AI.
Yeah, we
Well-
already don't know what's real.
Well, to
So,
be
like-
to be honest, right now we are so far from that. It's crazy. AI video has gotten really good, but like seriously though, a quick zoom in is all you need to
Yeah.
realize that hand has 6 fingers.
So there's like a conspiracy theory, like with what's her name, Kate Middleton, her video response of her coming out with cancer. People are saying that was AI.
yeah.
Because like she's like moving her hand, she has a ring on, and then she moves her hand like this, and the ring disappears, and it goes back, and it's there, and it's like obviously clear the light reflection off it just made it disappear to the camera,
Yeah,
but it's still there.
yeah.
But then someone's like put it through an AI detection and said this is a 97% chance of it being AI rendered.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah, I don't know how they
So,
figure that.
anyways,
All right, what's next? What's our?
Oh yeah,
what's
so
our-
this is really big news in the camera world, right? So Nikon, which is has been a camera manufacturer for a long time, camera company. They were putting cameras and they were putting lenses in World War II. They were manufacturing lenses to drop bombs on people. They've been around for a while. They have acquired Red. Now, what's interesting,
and they were in Jurassic Park.
right? Yeah, they were in.
That was
no,
literally the entire Jurassic Park 2 movie was like an product placement
for Nikon.
for Nikon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is like in the recent years, Nikon has taken a lot of heat for being. People say that if you're shooting Nikon, you're shooting with potatoes. It's kind of gotten a reputation for being left behind because like they did not jump on board with video. They were like, you know, while everybody's jumping on board for video creation, let's double down on photography so that real photography purists stick with us. And like that was not the move.
Yeah.
So they have been like made a 180 degree to the point where they acquired one of the biggest two one of the biggest two manufacturers of cinema cameras, which is Red. And now what's interesting about this is that Red has like the really, really interesting part about this is that Red has a proprietary technology, right? So when you're shooting a movie, you are typically shooting in RAW, right? RAW is when you're shooting with a stills camera, when you're shooting RAW, it's like taking the raw data instead of the compressed JPEG that you used to put out. You're taking the raw data so that you can, in post-production, you can define what the colors are. There's all this latitude to change the video to look exactly how you want it to look. And so it's the way to get the most cinematic image. It's the way to extract the most dynamic range out of a file. And what's really interesting is that this company called Red Cameras, they patented the technology to compress RAW. So, to put it this way, taking a raw photo is right now from my Canon R6, it's about 26 megabytes per image.
Yeah.
Bytes, not bits, right?
Yeah.
Megabits would be a different scenario, but megabytes. And so I can demolish a 256 gigabyte card in an event.
Yeah.
Like a single event.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what's really cool. Well, interesting to me anyway. So when you're recording video, you're recording at somewhere between 23 and 60 frames per second. That means you're taking 24 frames every single second you're recording. Now think about that. 26 megabytes
times 24 per second
for every second that you're filming.
Yeah.
Okay, so Red found a way to compress that to like a much more manageable size so that you're literally not changing out a terabyte for like, oh shoot, we recorded for a minute, so now we have to change like the entire media. So
and to give people context, right? If you could scroll down here, Claire, Red was used in big productions. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Captain Marvel, Planet Earth 2.
So yeah,
Squid Game.
There are two big players. Well, there's kind of three, but we'll call it three for the dedicated cinematographers. So there's Ari is the biggest player in cinematography, right?
Yep.
They do digital, they do film. They've been around forever. They're amazing, and that's kind of like the top guy.
Yeah.
Then there's a smaller company which is probably like maybe even a little higher end than Ari. There is Panavision, right? And then there's also Red. Red has only ever been digital, and their whole idea was to like have this like crisp, great image that's full of color, and it just looks amazing. It's maybe the best camera to use when you have VFX to consider. And so
which makes sense for like Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, and
it's
Stranger
like vibrant
Things.
And like Stranger Things.
And
actually Planet Earth 2, incredible. Like
The Hobbit.
Oh my god.
So
was on Red?
Yeah, I believe The Hobbit was on Red.
Here's what's crazy is that Red sued Nikon last year for Nikon implementing compressed RAW codecs in its Z9.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So
and then the case was just dropped, and then Nikon buys them.
So yeah, okay.
Maybe their settlement agreement.
But
right?
the problem is, I've been trying to find the dollar amount, and that's not publicly.
So here's why this happened. Mirrorless camera technology has gotten so good. Like your little mirrorless cameras, like the picture quality in video has just like steadily gotten better and better and better and better to the point where they have started like implementing raw video. But the big bottleneck was trying to fit the amount of data that like real raw, trying to compress that into an SD card is just stupid.
Yeah.
Like you can't, like it makes it prohibitively expensive to record raw. So they're all trying to come out with this compressed raw format, but they can't really do it because Red has the patent. Now Nikon, which has not been a video player, acquires Red and now has access.
Has become super relevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they've gone from being doubling down on photo only to having great photo cameras and now access to the thing that is like the golden goose.
That's a sign of a good acquisition, right?
So,
it's, something that radically changes how you play in the space.
Nikon has 20,000 employees. Red has 220.
My God, is that it?
Nikon, yeah, when you're only just manufacturing a certain type of camera compared to Nikon's entire lineup.
Yeah.
So, but Nikon does 1.3 billion in revenue. Red doesn't have that information because it's not publicly traded. So eventually we will see these numbers.
Yeah, when they're acquired.
When it's officially acquired, and because it's publicly traded, so they have to showcase what they spent. I'm curious to what that dollar amount is. So here's the crazy: the guy who started Red. Do you know what he did before that? What his company was?
No.
What big name brand? Oakley sunglasses.
Really?
Okay,
Wow.
so if you've ever met red representatives, that makes perfect sense.
Do they all wear Oakleys?
Like it's that personality. Like the guy on the beach who's wearing Oakleys, if they were a filmmaker, they'd be shooting red for sure.
Yeah,
Like
so
when-
That's funny.
he
whenever-
started Oakley sunglasses, and I think he sold it for a certain dollar amount.
Yeah.
So
So what's interesting is whenever you go to NAB is like the biggest, maybe the biggest camera convention in the film space. When you go there, you'll see everybody in the main space, but then Red will have their own private room that's like over there, and you walk in and they're just like they have such an attitude. It's funny.
Luxacata acquired Oakley in November 2007 for $2.1 billion.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this.
Sunglasses.
I'll say this, that obviously with Red potentially being acquired here, like that is a great strategy when you're facing a lawsuit like that, right? I mean, you essentially go from like, instead of settling over like a breach of IP, you just say, well, why don't we just buy you? Right? And then they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And then now they're like a huge player in it, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
interesting. So.
Yeah, so the biggest players in the mirrorless camera and photography space has been Canon and Nikon traditionally, and then Sony became a huge player and took a huge market share.
Yeah.
And Sony became like the video people, and Canon remained relevant for sure. In fact, everything I'm shooting is Canon, because all they capitalize on usability. But
Yeah.
So speaking of camera now, this is a new segment. We kind of did it last season, but I want to do more. There's so many more advertising, and most of these adverts that we see, in my opinion, are just terrible at selling what it is they're trying to sell or project. So we're going to have an ad review. We're going to have, I think we have like 3 or 4 different ads. Most of them are March Madness related, since it's going on right now. But this
And
is
they're
gonna
like
be a
very
segment.
triggering for me because I've seen them maybe
Triggering.
I'm not exaggerating, dozens of times this past weekend.
So this is a March Madness pickleball. This is a Nissan ad. March Madness 2024. Let's play this. Let's see how this is. Make it full screen.
Here we go.
Hands up! Hands up! Here's another one, and another one.
Game time.
Get back, you don't know me like that. Geek. I ain't playing around. Make one false move, I take you down. Get back.
Multiple felonies were committed in the making of this video.
So right off, my gut reaction is there were people in a meeting who were like, "Hey, pickleball's popular. Let's do an ad with pickleball. Does it need to make sense? No, we're just gonna do pickleball. And what's funny? Let's have him knock the paddle out of his hand because that makes sense, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's run with it. Let's run with it.
Yeah, there's nothing.
What city is that?
that
Is that San Francisco?
It is a green screen room.
Yeah.
It's just a green screen room.
Are you sure?
Yeah. A pickleball park with views like that.
Yeah.
Nah,
it'd be
that's
insane.
it might not be a green screen room, but it's definitely not real
Hit pause. Just
Yeah.
because that's far away. So that focal length would have to be like super zoomed in, and they're at like roughly 50 millimeter. I want to say they're at like 50, maybe 85. But to bring that landmark that close. No, they've either probably rotoscoped a real pickleball court or or a studio.
well, he's standing on either that's painted concrete he's standing on. So
Oh yeah, I think probably the court itself is real.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure the court's real.
But where the grass, where the shrubs,
the view
are,
is
yeah,
fake.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now that
You said room, so I'm like, That's a hell of a room.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how much money they have?
Yeah.
And it's a waste, is what I see.
Yeah. Basically,
This was them spending money to spend money for the sake of money, and it didn't really, in my opinion, doesn't accomplish.
Yeah, what they do a lot, just to give you guys context, is like a sports fan, like they do every year, they take these mascots and they put them in commercials, right? And I think some of it is literally just like, oh, we see our mascot, and now that fan base is like placated. Oh, that's Baylor's mascot, right?
Yeah, they were like,
And so-
let's combine pickleball, March Madness.
Sandwich a bunch of stuff in, and
Yeah, let's combine pickleball, March Madness, and Nissan.
Yeah.
Does your average pickleball player watch March Madness?
Probably. I mean, listen,
There's a lot of pickleball players.
Yeah, like pickleball is like outrageously popular right now, especially among like
I don't
buying
get-
demos. Like,
I don't get it.
yeah, I mean, it is. Listen, I was just watching it the other day on TV because I like flipped through and I was like, oh my god, pickleball is on TV, and I was like, oh, this is like glorified ping pong. Like, it's really. Not
That's
fun to
all I
watch.
think about it. And it's just
Yeah.
like,
It's really not
eh.
fun to watch.
Yeah,
oversized ping
I'm sure
pong.
it's fun to play.
it's
don't get me
tons of
wrong,
fun to play.
but-
I love playing it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What's next?
This is a. Do you want to do a new ranking system? Like out of stars? Yeah. This is 1 out of 5 stars.
Ooh,
Add.
how many stars? How many stars do we
I would
give it?
give it a 2, just because what it's doing is basically like hooking it. They took a song that's very hooky, right? And like is gonna be memorable and will be in your mind, right? And they basically sandwich that into an ad.
The
right?
only time that song is memorable is the time when Tom Cruise came out
Yes.
in the movie Tropic Thunder doing
Yes.
his dance.
Exactly. Yes.
That's
So-
the only time that song is memorable.
So if I'm giving this an official ranking, I'm gonna say on production value, great.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of what they accomplished in the
So
image,
that gets them 1 star in your mind.
and
or 2 stars.
So that's I'll give them a star for production value.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give them a star for getting the message across, because their message was so simple. They're like, we just want you to be thinking about us because we're but to be no, I can't give them a star for that, because
Anyone can do that.
You could have plugged
Any
literally
product into that?
any product into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could have it could
Gillette.
have been freaking hand lotion
It could be shavers.
because it fell out of his hand. Who
Coca-Cola.
cares? Yeah, I mean, literally anything could have been plugged into that. If you would have told me that was a Mercedes ad, I'd been like, okay. If you would have said that was any car company, one of the least things I'm going to remember about that is Nissan. I only remember Nissan because it was in the description of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put two to two together. That was a Nissan.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. So yeah, I give it 1 star. Great production value. Good music. Yeah.
All right.
Worked.
All right, March Madness. However you fan Geico Insurance. So Geico, let's see.
You get more with Geico, no matter what kind of fan you are.
Your perimeter's weak and your point guard's a geek. Sick burn, Caitlin.
From the trash-talking fan to the passionate fan, even the superstitious fan.
Last time you were there, you love seat. You were not wearing that. You know this is where I always sit. You did not have popcorn.
However you fan, get more with Geico.
Who wants to go first? Can I go first?
That's the most boring
Okay.
All right.
sports party ever.
Great ad up until the last scene. Right? So up in the last scene, they started to capture only people who were superstitious about sports.
Yeah, but here's what I'll tell you: almost everyone is superstitious about sports. So if
Okay.
you're watching March Madness,
All right.
you are superstitious about sports. So
Okay.
so I understand why you wouldn't identify with that, right? But people who filled out March Madness brackets and are like actively watching 12 hours of sports, like is reflected in this scene, absolutely identify with this, right? Now,
Okay.
You know what's wrong with this video? That guy's chain around his neck.
yeah, he's wearing the Mardi Gras. Well, he's wearing the Mardi Gras beads, right?
Oh,
Is that what it is?
It looks
Yeah.
like LSU.
It looks like gold.
LSU.
It looks like
Orleans.
looks like gold
Yes.
from my
Yeah,
exactly. angle. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that's why he's doing that. But
All right.
But I will say the casting for the little girl at the beginning was incredible. She did a great job.
Yeah.
was
She did a great
fantastic.
job, and I loved my favorite part's the clarinet.
Well, if she did sick burn, she should. In my opinion, she should have gone like
And there you go.
I don't know. That's just
Yeah,
me, but
yeah. No, that was pretty good. I just think it was also funny that like a UVA fan was calling out somebody for being a geek.
they're all a
which-
bunch of nerds. Anyways.
Just like okay, but you liked the clarinet part. You liked her crying. The
Yeah.
clarinet.
Yeah. Well, I think the sound design's hilarious.
That's pretty
That's
good.
a,
I
that's
think
a
the-
face to
The
stop
idea
on.
of using a clarinet, because clarinets have probably the worst propensity to sound awful.
Yeah.
It was a great choice.
Yeah, and she's like crying
and she's
trying to
crying,
play.
and then they included like a few like little clarinet sounds.
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
But then they lost me at the last scene.
Yeah,
But I guess
yeah.
that's person dependent, and so they're
It's
really
audience
targeting
dependent.
the audience.
Audience dependent.
production
yeah,
value.
definitely. Yep.
It's there.
Yeah, great. Yeah, look. Well, I mean, on a technical level, go to the first scene.
Was that an actual UVA player
No. That wasn't even. It
Go
was
to
supposed to be the other team.
or the other team?
All right,
Yeah.
play it
Whoever
real
other-
quick. All right, pause it. All right. Well, they've broken reality a little bit because the light is coming from the right side
Yeah.
and hitting her face. Now switch to the next part to show the basketball player.
You gotta go back.
Yeah, right there.
Go back further.
Just a little bit more. Yeah,
Right there. Oh, yeah, we got to see his face.
Yeah.
Pause.
All right, right there. Okay, now we also have the light coming from the right to the left, but it's when he's turned around, it doesn't matter though. But I mean, it's coming from right to left. Now go to the next scene with the clarinet girl. Right to left, and with a kick light.
Yeah.
And then go to the last scene.
Left to right.
Left to right, but it makes sense because that's where the light would come from in the home.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
So in terms of technical aspects of lighting, everything looks great. Everything looks believable. Yeah. Give it a star for a full star for production value.
I give 1.5. It was a
I
little
give
bit
it-
better than the other ad.
I give it 2.5, and the reason I give it 2.5 is because they know their audience. Like that whole like, and I understand you guys not identifying with it, but I mean literally, I give my buddies like so much shit for like how superstitious they are, and I'm not. I'm serious. Like what the volume is at, right? Is it at 37 or is it?
I'm
at,
just
is it at
saying
40? Right.
This
Okay.
ad, this could have been done better.
Yes.
The
Okay.
writing could have been done better.
Sure.
I don't know. I think you have to remember what who's making this. No one is thinking about insurance after this.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's Geico, but that's not their goal.
Yeah.
Their goal is not to get you to think about insurance. Their goal is literally for you to hear the word Geico.
Yeah.
They
exactly.
do such a quantity of ads that
Yeah.
they just want you to hear Geico.
But the
all
difference
the
is,
time.
but if you compare this to previous Geico ads, the ones that you remember, like the caveman and the lizard,
Yeah.
those were better written,
Yeah.
better done,
Sure.
and almost became a household name. Like 10 minutes can save you, or 15 minutes. What
15 minutes can
Yeah.
save you 15%
Sure.
or more on
On
car
car
insurance.
insurance, see?
Sure.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with that. Those have much more like mass appeal, right? And they, obviously a lot more
But
went into those.
this is burning money. The way I see this.
This right here is super niche. That's all it is. It's
Yep.
designed for one specific event for
Still
one
bur-
weekend.
Still burning money.
It's designed for 4 days. It's designed for 4 days of the year, right? Which is
Yeah,
these days
but
of
if you
March
look at the
Madness,
cost to make a commercial like this, at a bare minimum of $1 million was spent on that production.
I get it, but the eyeballs that are on this are massive. Do you know how many times this weekend I saw this commercial? Like huge.
I know.
right?
I'm just
Every
saying that
commercial
if you're
break.
going to be spending $1 million to $2 million on a production,
Yeah.
just do a little bit better.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
all.
Could have been better. That's why I gave it 2.5. Right? I didn't give it like a 4. Right? So,
All right. What's the next one? It's a Wendy's
I could
one?
give that a 3.
all right. So Wendy's.
I would hope Wendy's, knowing how Wendy's handles their Twitter account, how they just roast everyone.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
man,
would have
they
a-
just need to hand the reins to that person.
Yes. Let that person write your ad. Because they obviously didn't hear, in my opinion, as far as this one. Wendy's Superfans March Madness ad. Go ahead.
Everyone's hyped that Wendy's made the official hamburger of March Madness a buck. But Tyler and Toby, on another level.
Get it for a buck. Get it for a buck. Dance single, dance single.
I'm hearing that song in my sleep.
I am too because he's Oh.
Get hyped with fresh, never frozen beef on Wendy's Dave's single for a buck. Only in the app.
So does that have surge pricing?
So you know what? I don't. In terms of personality, I don't like this.
But this,
in terms of actually
selling a product?
communicating a message and selling a product, unfortunately, I think they probably did.
yeah, this did a better job of selling what they're trying to accomplish compared to the other two.
Yeah, and it was very much product oriented, right? I mean that the other two were not product oriented at all.
And they were creating an earworm.
Mm-hmm.
They were conveying a message, and they were being annoying about it so that you would remember it.
Yeah, yeah.
And nothing about that burger is real.
Oh no,
Yeah, definitely
no.
None of that
Definitely
burger.
not.
Actually, it may be using real stuff. That cheese is not. The cheese may be real, but they spray stuff on it to give it that look.
Oh, they
The
do all kinds of stuff.
The glossiness.
That's
there.
the most toxic thing that that you could ever
That
place in
mayo?
your
Almost
mouth.
as toxic as an actual Wendy's burger.
That it's probably healthier. The mayo is definitely Elmer's glue. I do know they do that.
Yeah. Oh, they've got all kinds of glycerin spray on it, which would give you straight diarrhea.
Yeah, yeah, all definitely. And then of course that's not real ice in that Wendy's cup.
I remember one time we were doing a shoot. We were doing a food shoot, and they were like, "Oh, you guys can eat this. It's just glycerin spray on it." And like 15 minutes prior, they were like, "Glycerin spray is okay to eat. It just will give you straight diarrhea." And we were just like, they gave us this plate of stuff, and they were like, "It's just glycerin on it. You can eat it." And I was just like, "No."
Were they testing you?
I don't know, but they genuinely wanted us to eat it, and we were just like,
No,
no, we're not gonna.
there's no condensation on the Wendy's cup.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have dulling spray on it. Then,
There's
probably right.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely Dolan spray on that, and then there's fake ice in that. So
They would. I think they would if they were featuring the drink, they would have.
Yeah, they'd
it wouldn't be dulled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be dulled. It would be just like all kinds of condensation droplets that would look really nice.
Go back to the first part of this ad where he's holding the burger. Right there. Look at the shine on that piece of meat
Yeah, the light.
and the way he's holding it. I've
And
never held a
and you know
burger
what?
like
You know
that.
what? Also, pay attention to the extras. Look at how they have the extras positioned. They're like perfectly composed. Like, great job, guys.
Is that a repeat of the guy behind him? It's just like duplicate. Here's another hat, the same.
I don't know. Oh, right there,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the two back to back. I find it actually interesting. They do use contrast really well here, right? He's wearing all gray, right? Like neutral color with the pop of Wendy,
the logo.
right?
Yeah.
The girl.
Yeah,
and then the hat.
draw your attention with that.
Well, I think that's the actual
and
uniform.
the burger. Look how much saturation is on the
Yeah.
burger.
Yeah.
They probably they may have even rotoscoped that.
And look at that
Or
stash.
no, probably just
That's
tracked
stash.
it.
Yeah.
That's real. That stash. That's real. I give him that.
Yeah.
Just play this again. So right through. Yeah, everything about that's fake. These guys are ridiculous.
I will say the casting on them two were good, and the casting on her.
Yeah,
was pretty
she did that pretty.
I tell you
good.
what, nobody had more fun than those
By
two
the way,
actors
this is
on
not
set.
this is not a real Wendy's location either.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I think no. That's definitely a
Look
set.
at that.
It's-
That I'm telling you what, that shot took them hours.
Yeah,
Just
like
smushing the
arena?
hamburger
Oh,
down.
smushing the hamburger. Okay,
Like-
yeah. And you see the
Light. Look at
ketchup
how
and
much
the mayo
light they have. They
pulling
have
out.
light on both sides. They have light coming in. They have glycerin on the tomato.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's how you get that water effect. Is you spray glycerin to get that,
Yeah.
and then that's definitely super glue. That may be real ketchup with glue. Anyways, continue.
It doesn't look like real mayo.
It's
I'll say
probably-
that.
No,
It's
that's
prob-
glue. That's glue.
Yeah.
That's well done. So I give this a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I hate it so much just because of the stupid earworm of it.
Yeah.
It's like I heard that commercial so many times.
I don't know. I think that I have to give it like a 3.5 or 4.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like they succeeded in what they were doing. I feel like that is money well spent.
So,
I'd give it a 3. I mean, it's definitely like they were very clear. It's Wendy's and it's a Wendy's commercial, and they made that like super abundantly clear throughout the entire thing.
And how many people actually went and got Wendy's knowing they can get a burger for $1?
Yeah.
That's actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
every time I go out to eat now, I'm easily spending
$15. Yeah.
I went to Noodles
for
and
the
Company,
love.
$15.
Yeah.
Yesterday, got a sandwich. That was actually mine was almost like $20.
Yeah.
Which
Crazy.
was ridiculous.
We should eat after this.
So, all right, so that concludes the first season. Oh, sorry, no, the first
episode of the second season.
2. With an
That
apparent...
was shorter than Game of Thrones season 9.
Yeah.
That is the wrap up of the season. We'll see you guys for season 3.
Thanks again. Tune in to the Think Fresh Move Forward podcast. See you next time.